So the other day I went into Ulta. I was looking for a particular perfume that I really liked. It reminded me of my mom. My mom used to wear this tea rose perfume. I absolutely loved it. So I found a perfume that smelled very similar, but a little more like me. So I wanted to get it. They didn't have it in stock, so I had to order it, which was fine. And they do super fast shipping. But when I got it in this huge box. Like, what on earth would they have sent me in this big box? I opened it up, and inside this box was this gift. So this is this super cute purse. And I thought, it's kind of plain. How can I jazz it up a bit? So the first thing I thought of was to do transfers. So I've got this whimsical Wonderland transfer inspired by Tracy's Fancy. It's so beautiful. It's got bright, beautiful colors and a pop of black and white, which I love. I am going to use Rethunk Gunk as my medium to help the transfer adhere to the faux leather. And on the other side, I'm going to try what I've seen in other videos, this Mod Podge for fabric, just to see if there's any difference between the Rethunk Gunk and the Mod Podge, if one works better than the other. I'm going to test it out. And so I am about to get started. I'm going to add my transfers. I might put a little paint on the sides. I'm not sure yet, but I know that Rethunk Junk paint will adhere really nice. Maybe add some contrast to the bag. So let's get started.
Never, ever, never. Never, ever, never.
So let's look at the difference in the Rethunk Gunk and the Mod Podge for fabric. So the Rethunk Gunk is on this side, and there's not much sheen to it. It didn't make it really shiny. It's a little bit tacky, but not too much. So that should help with the transfers adhering to the faux leather. Now on this side, I used Mod Podge for fabric. It's shinier than the Rethunk Gunk. And it's tackier. And it does say that after you put on your decoupage or transfers, whatever you're doing, that you seal it. So after I prepped my surface for the transfers, I decided I did want to paint this area here a contrast. So I'm going to use the color Midnight by Rethunk Junk Paint. And I might decide to paint this strap. I don't know. It looks like it might be a little tedious, but I'm going to start with this section. I'm going to go ahead and tape it off and then use the prep on it to clean, and then I'll paint.
Never, ever, never. Never, ever, never. You're the universe and I was revolving like a sun on my own.
Now the reason I chose Rethunk Junk Paint is because I know it adheres really well to surfaces that are slick. It's a resin paint and it just has a phenomenal ability to stick to surfaces that other paint may not. It does require 2 to 3 coats, but they're thin coats, so you really don't end up using a ton of paint, which I also love about this product. and it dries with a little bit of a sheen, unlike chalk paint. So if you don't want to seal it, you don't have to, and you'll still have that little bit of that satin sheen look that I think will look nice on this handbag. All right, so I've got one nice coat, and that's what the perfect first coat of Rethunk Junk paint will look like when you paint. Now for the second and third, and then I'll be ready for my transfers. Here's a couple of things about your transfer. Most of them will obviously tell you everything that's in the packet. This has 4 sheets and they are 24 by 38. And this is the layout on the back. Each sheet that's in the transfer tube is sectioned off in this way, and that'll help you when you're planning your project if it's a large piece of furniture. And then of course there's all the instructions that you need. This one is Whimsical Wonderland Transfer, inspired by Tracy's Fancy. Inside you're going to have this little wooden tool that you can use to rub the transfer down. And let's see if I can get these out of here. Here are all the sheets and also your instructions, which who reads instructions anyway? I guess we all should. So these are the sheets. I'm going to just take a few minutes to decide which flowers I want on my bag and how I want to arrange them. If you want to just take it and lay it directly on your bag and rub your transfer, that's fine. I like to cut my transfers out and be a little more selective as to which pieces or elements in the design that I use on each project. So I'm going to take a minute and cut some out and arrange it on my bag, and then we'll rub them down. I'll show you how you put them on your project. Before I forget to mention this, there is a protective backing on each transfer sheet, so you will want to leave that backing on while you're cutting out your pieces, and don't take it off until you're ready to put it on your project.
Never, ever, never. Never, ever, never. You're the universe and I was revolving like a sun on my own. I know that you would do anything for me, but I just need to move on. I was running from a bad thing when I first met you. This is gonna hurt.
Once you've cut out all of the pieces that you want to apply to your project, you will then remove the protective backing, lay the transfer exactly where you want it on your project. And this is important because once you put it down, it is stuck there. So put it exactly where you want it. Then you'll use your little wooden tool to rub the transfer down. Now you want to do this kind of firmly. The plastic coating on the top will begin to turn opaque or frosty, and that's when you'll know that your transfer is adhered to your project piece. And then I take just a little soft cloth and kind of burnish the transfer into the project. Now you want to be very careful when you do this. What I'm using is actually a dried out white bee. So I just continue the process, putting the pieces that I cut out all over my handbag where I want the design. You can layer your transfers.
First met you, this is gonna hurt, but it doesn't make it any less true. I never really loved you. I never really did call you my only. I'm only holding on to something in my head because I'm lonely.
Now when you are layering transfers, the transfer on the bottom may come through the transfer that you place on top. So you may have a little bit of the color and a little bit of the image come through the top transfer. And I don't mind that for this particular project, but I did want to let you know that as you're layering transfers, you may see the one underneath just a little bit peek through the transfer on the top.
I was scared to start my own new story. I've been stuck for too long. I was running from a bad thing when I first met you. This is gonna hurt, but it doesn't make it any less true. I never really loved you. I never really did call you my only. I'm only holding on to something in my head because I'm lonely. I never ever meant to hurt you, but it doesn't make it any less true. Never ever, never, but it doesn't make it any less true. Never ever meant to hurt you.
Let me take this opportunity to show you how to fix a transfer if something goes wrong. This one, I was so upset when I came back. Do you see that little place right there where the transfer obviously pulled up? I think it was something I was propping the purse on while I was waiting for different areas of the paint to dry, but I was so bummed out because this little space got messed up. But the neat thing is we can fix it with just a little bit of paint. So if you notice right in here, there are some gray dots. We could go gray and then just do our black lines back in there, or we could just go white like on this side and put our black lines. So whatever you choose to do, we can disguise this little area that got messed up. I'm going to take just a little bit of white paint. Now you can use acrylic paint, you can use chalk paint, you can use resin paint, whatever you are using. And I'm just going to go in here and put this white paint. And I'm going to go a little bit further than the area with the flaw. And I think I'm even going to go in on this side to just bring a little bit of that white in there so it almost looks like it's supposed to be that way. Now if you had a little flaw like that and it was on a flower somewhere different in your design, you could always just put a transfer on top of it and layer them. But because this was the main focal point of the purse, it would look kind of silly if I stuck a flower or another transfer on top of my butterfly. So in this case, we're going to have to fix him with just a little bit of paint. So I'm going to take a little bit of black and I'm going to go in there and put the little lines back. And again, I'm using the resin paint, but you can use acrylic, chalk, doesn't matter. I'm going to go in here where I added that bit of white. I think that looks pretty good. So in the end, this project turned out absolutely beautiful. I love how it turned out. I did have a few bumps along the way, but it gave me an opportunity to show you how I fix a transfer with just a little bit of paint when you have a little mess up. And I got to try out 2 new products on this bag. Now I used Mod Podge for fabric on this side of my bag, and I used Rethunk Gunk on this side of my bag. Now I will say, if I do this type of project again, I will for sure use the Rethunk Gunk. The Mod Podge for fabric left my bag a little tackier than I wanted. Is it good to be tacky? Sometimes yes. And a little shinier than I wanted. The Rethunk Gunk had the perfect amount of sheen, and it wasn't quite as tacky, which made it a little bit easier to work with. So for sure, I'm going to be using Rethunk Gunk the next time I do a transfer or I do a decoupage. I'm going to give this bag away to one lucky winner. All you have to do is go to the description in the video. There's a little form that you fill out just so I know how to get in touch with you should you win this bag. And I'm going to be drawing a random winner at the end of July. So go to my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, go to the description in this video, fill out that quick little form, and this bag could make its way to you. Thanks for watching.
Never, ever, never